Hello everybody, in this short video I want to talk about how to handle auto-increment fields, because very often I realized that there was some confusion about how to use these fields, how to configure these fields in DaDaBIK. So first of all, what is an auto-increment field? For auto-increment field, your DBMS, for example, MySQL, assigns every time you register, you insert a new record in a table, a unique value. In particular, by default, it starts with 1 as a value, and for each new record inserted, the value is incremented by 1. In this way, you are sure that the value is unique. And that's why typically auto-increment fields are primary keys. All right. The word auto-increment is used in MySQL, but other database management systems have other terms for similar fields. So, for example, you have identities for Microsoft SQL Server. You have serial fields for Postgres, and so on and so forth. More in general, you often have a sequence, a database sequence that your DBMS uses to fill the value of a particular field. Okay? So, for example, here, we have a table cities with all our cities, and let's have a look to the fields, the database fields of this table. I'm using MySQL right now, and we have 3 fields: ID city, desk city, which is the name of the city, and the ID of the country. All right. ID city is the primary key of the table, and it is auto-increment. That means that when I insert a new city in my application, MySQL, not DaDaBIK, MySQL, will assign a new value, a new unique value. And this field is also the primary key, which means we can use this field to identify each record we have in our table. So, for example, when you enter in edit mode a record in DaDaBIK, DaDaBIK uses the primary key of the table in order to retrieve and display the right value, and then in order to update the right record when you click on Save. All right. So for this field, ID city, let's check the form configurator. Cities, ID city. ID city is a text field numeric content type. And if we look at the permissions, ID city has no for all the operations. No results, no edit, no create, no details, no quick search, no search, no CSV. Okay, it might be useful sometimes to see the ID of a record, but for the final user of the application, most of the time, the ID of a record, if it is an auto-increment field, is not very useful. So you shouldn't display this field. And you shouldn't display this field in the insert form. This for sure. Why? because otherwise the user can enter a specific value for the field. But what we want to get is getting automatically a value from MySQL for that specific field. So in cities, if I click on insert, I only have name and country, and that's totally fine. So here I can write test, city, country, Canada. Okay, let's search test city. Okay, it's here. Sorry, the interface is in Italian, but I think you got it anyway. So as you can see, we register our new city, and a new value has been assigned by MySQL to this ID city field. In this case, we can see the value from the URL is 21534. All right. So one of the things I often notice is that for some reason, probably it's a bit confusing. For ID city, you choose this. For auto increment fields, you choose this field type in DaDaBIK, unique ID. But that's a completely different thing. A unique ID field. Not sure if you can see it. Let's try like this. Yeah. A unique ID field, for a unique ID field, DaDaBIK tries to produce a unique value to use for the field itself. DaDaBIK, not MySQL. So you cannot set a field as auto-increment in MySQL and also unique ID in DaDaBIK. If the field is auto-increment in MySQL or serial in Postgres and so on and so forth, in DaDaBIK must be text. Okay, this field type, unique ID, is a field type that you won't use very often, right? So yeah, that's the correct way to configure a field, an auto-increment field. There's one thing you have to make the whole process easier. If you are using MySQL, there is a configuration parameter in DaDaBIK. That's the field. Very long name, but at least you can understand the purpose of this parameter. If you set this parameter to 1, when you install a table, if DaDaBIK detects there is an auto-increment field, for that field, all the permissions are set to no. One question you often ask about auto-increment fields is it compulsory to have an auto-increment field for each table I want to use in DaDaBIK? It is not. You must have a primary key for each table, but you can also have a primary key that is not an auto-increment field. For example, I don't know, you have a table cars with a list of cars, and you use a plate as a primary key, assuming that the plate can uniquely identify each car. You can do that, but a few DaDaBIK features you can use. There are a few DaDaBIK features that you can use only if you have an auto-increment field in your table. For example, the email notice after insert. That is a feature that you can enable in your configuration file that allows you to send an email to someone when a new record is registered in a table. That feature works only if you have an auto-increment field. The after insert hook is another feature that works only with an auto-increment field. I'll write in the description of the video the complete list of features that require an auto-increment field. And by the way, even if you have a primary key that is not an auto-increment field and you want to still use that primary key, you can also add an additional field, auto-increment, not primary key. That's another option you have. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you have any question, you can post a comment or post on our forum. Bye bye!